We're just sitting here talking about how food is poison. Where are you from, dude? You are just so, how old are you?
I'm 26.
You are so wise.
Wow.
Has anybody told you that you are like way above your age?
I've heard that before. You know, but the wise man knows that he knows nothing, right?
Yeah.
We've got so much more to experience and learn. So.
When you were growing up, what'd you want to be?
Wow. I was really into sports. I'm really good at basketball. I love basketball. Then I wanted to be a veterinarian. Then I got my degree in anthropology, so I want to be an anthropologist. So, yeah, a lot of different fields.
What would you classify yourself?
Now I'm just letting life unfold, motivating people, inspiring people. I'm a musician that speaks to people's hearts, and I love it. So I don't know what I do. I just am. It's nothing really for me to do.
What is the line in one of yours about being? You talk about. Don't you talk about being that we're not just being human beings, and we're not being anymore?
Human doings, human lingerings in the past. We're not being in the present moment, which is the most beautiful moment that we have. It's all we have is the present. We don't know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now. All we have is the present moment. So,
do you have a pivot point in your life?
I was always weird. I always was in the world, but yet outside of it.
Why?
I don't know. It was just, I was a quiet kid. I guess maybe my isolation, created what you see in front of you now. There was really no pivot. Academically, I grew up and I was a very complacent student until I got, introduced to conscious hip hop, and that just catalyzed the part in my brain and sent me on this quest for information, and whether it be politics, religion, science, all of these things. I just spent hours in the library just reading and researching, and then ended up getting a full ride to the University of Missouri, St. Louis, where I graduated magna cum laude. So that was it. That was it was really hip hop was the pivot point, initially. And then I made the spiritual transition.
How did hip hop turn you into somebody who says, I want to go to a library? Because an old, dusty relic would go, hip hop, turn it down.
I understand. See, what you hear on the radio, on TV of hip hop it's probably about 10% of what hip hop actually is. Hip hop is beautiful. Hip hop originated as the voice of the voiceless. It was very politically driven, very uplifting. Now it's very materialistic. It's been commodified. But the hip hop that I got into was intellectually driven.
I tell you, it's not just hip hop. It's all of it. I listen to music now with my kids, and there is it's grotesque on what's happening now. And I don't, every generation has always said that. Oh, always say that it's, you're too old and lyrics are going to be, no, they're different now. We're talking about using women. You want to talk about objectifying, it's using women, and it's all about money. And it's not just hip hop, it's all of it.
Yeah.
How do you reach somebody who is growing up in that culture where nothing in our society is saying, you know what? Values are important. Just being an honest guy. In one of your poems, you talk about the heroes of today were villains 60 years ago.
Yeah.
How do we change that?
Honestly, the artists, they kind of lack an artistic integrity these days. Their motivations are financially driven. But for me, I've gotten I can't do that. I just don't feel right. I can't put out a message that I don't stand behind, that I don't believe will have a positive impact on people.
Who are your heroes?
Initially in hip hop, it was Immortal Technique, a guy named Raz Kaz, Chuck D from Public Enemy. And as of late, my heroes are Jesus, Buddha, Krishna. These guys have some tremendous ideas.
I have to tell you, I have, because I'm a Christian, believe in Jesus Christ. Buddha he's not God. He was a great teacher.
Right.
But you say Buddha, you bring up Buddha to a lot of Christians and they freak out. I've got Buddha, I wish I would have taken it in my office. I've got Buddha sayings on my glass. I write a lot on my glass. I just started reading the teachings of Buddha. He got it.
He got it.
He got it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, if more of us would look and say, okay, what can I get from the great teachers? I get my salvation from Jesus, but can I learn any of the peacefulness from Buddha, the reflection and the shedding of materialism, of want? Be really good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love Buddha. The noble truths, life is suffering, the cause of suffering is our attachments, you know, but it's possible to overcome our suffering in life. And I think all the teachers, they taught the same thing.
I have to tell you, they did. Yeah. They just said it in a different way. You know, it's like in Acts, the apostles, the Spirit comes and he changes their language. He doesn't change the hearer. He changes the apostles' language. That's what's happening. God speaks the language of whoever, you know what I mean? He'll use you to speak a language that I can't speak. He'll use me to say something to speak to another group of people, but it's the same message if it's a message based in love and peace and reconciliation.
Absolutely. Totally.
When I first heard Buddha say that life is suffering, I thought, no, it's not. But when you realize what the suffering is caused by, you want to explain that a little bit?
Suffering and happiness exist in the mind. You know, Buddha, first of all, Buddha, he talked about don't even believe him. Experience for yourself. You know, don't make me into a religion. Don't worship me. Worship love. You know, and he talked about the mind. The Dalai Lama calls Buddhism a science of the mind. Because they realize suffering and happiness it originates in the mind. So controlling your mind can control the way you view life, the way you experience life. You know, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, as the old saying goes. Yeah.
That was really great.